Hello and welcome to Coffee and Bonsai with Tom. Today I have an exciting episode for you. We're going to work on one of my favorite varieties of Portulacaria Afra. It's called Portulacaria Afra Aurea, or golden leaf jade, and I just really like it. It's just a wonderful tree, and it sort of gets these. The leaves have different colors, and I'll show you that here as we take a spin. So the leaves start out as this beautiful bright yellow, almost look like a flower. And then they sort of turn into a lime green, and as they age, they get sort of a darker green. So you get this wonderful, color transition of the leaves, and it really is a special tree. I really like how it looks. It's quite a looker for sure. So the goal today is to do some maintenance pruning on this tree. Nothing major. I want to thin it out and bring it back in line. So I think I'll start here on the trunk. This tree has a beautiful trunk. 2 years ago, this thing was a sprig with a single leaf coming out the top. I bought it off someone on Etsy, and I'm just kind of cleaning up get this as close as I can. And look at the trunk. I mean, it really has developed in that time. It's nice and thick, almost too thick, actually, I'm thinking, in some areas. But it's got a decent nabari. I'm just cleaning up some of this stuff. And I think it looks great. I've been very, very impressed with how quickly this tree grows and has thickened up. So I have a few just tiny roots here that are almost hairs that I don't think I'm going to need. So I'll just kind of nip those off and clean it up a bit. And I'm thinking, where to start. Maybe start with this main branch. And, I always kind of like to get the downward facing growth under control on the underside of the branches. And so I think I'll just kind of, take a look at the tree, but I'll probably just kind of start with that and just clip off stuff that's just getting a little too long, and then also leaves that are facing down, just to try to thin it out and build some space in the tree and try to lighten it up so we can really see the shape that I'm interested in. And this thing, cuttings are super easy. I mean, it's that way with ports in general anyhow, but this one, I mean, you practically just throw it down anywhere with moist soil, and it'll just take off. So it propagates very, very easily. And so I'll just kind of use my trick of picking up the branch and just cutting off the stuff that is downward facing for sure. And I guess a few other things while I'm doing that I can mention about this tree is this variety, the new growth. Let's see, how would I describe it? It's very soft. So, when you touch these yellow leaves, they just don't have a firmness that the other ports have. And, as they get older and turn greener, they sort of, that kind of goes away, and they get stronger. I'm really going to kind of clean this out here. But, yeah, it's interesting to me. It's sort of a more fragile, I guess I describe, initial growth. And also, I mean, the bugs know that. I usually have hardly any issues with bugs at all. But I do with these. The aphids just love these things. And, it's not like it's difficult to control, but, I kind of look down the line of my ports, and this is what they like. And it's probably because it's softer and easier to eat. And this also has an extremely dense growth habit, so lots of places for them to hide in there. But, I think many of those attributes just really lead to it being a great specimen for these mame bonsai, and you can just see how thick this is. So I'm just trying to get it under control and thin it out and create some space. And like I said, I'll go around to this back branch now and just kind of go around and get the low hanging leaves, and then we'll pick a new spot or a new strategy from there. I frequently approach pruning my my really small dense ports this way, right? Like I sort of kind of go around, start at the bottom, go around, get the easy stuff, and then go up the next layer and do the same thing, and then that gives me a view into the tree, and I can really see what's going on. And I'll nip the odd thing that's facing inward or something that's clearly too long or too thick as I'm going around. But what I find is by really reducing the density, it really helps to see what to do next. So, if you have a tree that's very dense like this, I think that's a good strategy. And then I'll kind of move to the top layer of the tree, applying the same ideas, and then kind of doing some profile pruning as I go. But then what I find is once you've thinned it out, it's really easier to see what you want to do with the profile. So then I sort of come back and do another round with that. But it's all how you like to see the tree. But that's frequently how I tend to do it if I had to sort of describe it. So I'm off to the right hand side here now, just doing the same thing, just trying to get these, get it thin so we can really see what's going on. Another thing I didn't mention just then is usually is kind of the end step is kind of thinning out the pads a bit, and you kind of want them sort of thicker, closer into the trunk, and then thin them as you kind of go out. And I'll show you that when we get to that part of it as well. I'm quite happy to see this tree is. You can see it's quite robust and it looks super super healthy. And yeah, we'll definitely have to do some thinning here, but as I said, we'll come back to that. This tree was another one of the partial victims of my great overwatering automated watering malfunction. I'm just moving on to the top layer and getting the stuff underneath thinned out now, as I described before. But yeah, this tree was kind of unhealthy due to overwatering, and so I'm glad to see it has really bounced back. I tried a little bit of a different strategy with this one. I just sort of let it get super dried out and then started watering it again. And of course it bounced back very quickly and has done well. So, it's another strategy. I tried one of the trees. I had actually pulled it out of the pot and, examined the roots and pruned them a little and put it back in. And this one I didn't do that. I just sort of allowed it to dry out. And I got similar results. Maybe this one came out a little bit further ahead. So I guess if I had to recommend a procedure, I might say that. This is really thick here, so I'm going to chop back on this. I found these trees on the top. Boy, they get really thick. It's so dense that it's just solid, which is kind of what you might want. I kind of like a little bit of air in there, but I find I am frequently thinning this variety out because it really, really likes to grow very compactly, particularly near the top of the tree. But it'd be a great species if if you sort of want that type of tree that's just dense foliage where it just looks like dragon scales or something from the top all the way down. Just super, super solid. I think this would really deliver that for you. I'm just thinning off some of the stuff that I know is a little long here at the top because I want that nice kind of rounded look. And, like I said, we're not doing major pruning on this. I just want to kind of prune it back, get it ready to be going outside soon. I tend to leave, some foliage on when I'm just trying to thin this out. Leave some foliage on when I'm going to put it outside because, I do take precautions with the sun when I introduce them to, UV rays. But, you can get some leaf burn, and so I don't want to go... I kind of want to leave some stuff on to burn so then I can cut that off and replace it, I guess is how I describe it. And, it's funny here in Seattle. I think this is looking quite a bit better already. I think I'll just thin this, neaten up the top here. I like stuff coming up the front, but I've got a couple of branches coming straight out towards us there. I'll just kind of round this off here and nip that. So I may take those off. I do want some forward stuff, but I think if I don't, yeah, let me see. I'm just wondering if that's going to come right out at us, but we'll see. I'll let it marinate for a while while I thin out some of this other stuff. But what I was going to say about our weather here in Seattle, it's like, we seem to go from 60s to like, 80, so the the trees don't get a whole lot of time to adjust between when you can now thin out this pad a little bit, between when you can put them outside. I usually like to have it about 50 degrees or so, and then, the full firepower of the sun comes down on them, right? And I do use shade cloth as well, but it's always a balance of, they really enjoy the sun, but not too much. So I'm always trying to figure that out. Yeah, I've always been impressed with how healthy this tree is, and I think part of it is this pot. It's in kind of it's not a deep pot, but it's deeper than what many of my kind of really tiny ports are in, and yeah, it really seems to like it, and it's kind of funny. I was thinking the other day that pots kind of have a life of their own. They're kind of like houses, right? Like sort of trees come and go and occupy them, maybe for years, and then they're moved on to another pot, or just doing some profile pruning now to neaten it up. Or a tree dies, and like this pot, some pots are just great. I have one pot I call like a death pot. Like whatever I put in there, and it's a reasonable looking pot, nothing does well. This pot has been a very good luck pot. I've had many azaleas in here. I had a larch in here years ago. I had what's the flowering variety? It's a beautiful Japanese quince in here, and yeah. So I don't know if it's like a blessed pot. I'm sure you folks have some of those too, and this pot, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm thinking of putting this in, I don't know, a different pot, but part of me thinks, why mess with with a good thing that's working out? So we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm going to do too much more to this. Like I said, I kind of want maybe a few nips and tucks here, but I want to leave a bit on because it'll be going outside soon, as I said before, and I am going to take this front stuff off, and I can always regrow it. I definitely want some stuff coming out the front, but I think that's just going to come right at me, and you can see the trunk all the way up now, and I can clean this up. But I think it looks good. I can't wait for this tree to develop in the future. Like it's just thickening up so much, and I think it's going to be kind of a little sumo in another couple of years. It really is. It really likes to grow and get thick. So now we can kind of neaten this up. And, I just kind of eyeball it and, kind of prune out stuff that is a little eye-poking and unattractive. And, like I said, this is a very fast-growing variety, so it's not going to tolerate that for long. It'll quickly bust out new yellow flowers for you, which is always quite nice. Let me thin this one out a bit as well. And this is always, I mentioned this before, it's kind of my favorite part, where you get all the manual labor done, and you can be a little more artistic now when you're really kind of fine-tuning the tree towards the end of your pruning and creating some spaces where, bird can fly through. Let's see, yeah, I think some of these are really tiny leaves. And you gotta be careful, it's so dense. I frequently have accidentally just chopped off something I didn't intend to here. This side's looking okay. And I think we're pretty close. Yeah, cleaning up that pat on the right really helped a lot. Yeah, so I'm just going to clean up here, little intermission, and I think we'll do the parting thought early. And I think that it kind of ties into what we've been talking about a bit, and that is, I don't know, this idea of taking good care of your trees, right? Really learning what your tree likes and making sure that you keep it super healthy because, you know, these are tough trees, or any tree really. Like if you really learn how to take care of it, they bounce back really quickly from, you know, all of the techniques that we use in bonsai. So you know, it's kind of a critical skill. I mean, I guess it's called horticulture. Is what you would call that. But you know, learn what the tree needs. You know what it likes. You know what it doesn't like. The time to do various things, and you know, you can really push the tree um, pretty far and pretty quickly. Actually, pretty hard if you kind of understand those parameters, and particularly with Portulacaria Afra, I really think I recommend people have an experimental tree. I mean, you know, maybe it's even just a port in a pot where you withhold water and see how it reacts to that, and then give it some water, see how quickly it comes back, then take it a little further next time. And you know, you really learn a lot about the tenacity of the tree. I think this looks great. I really do like this little tree, and I'm very much looking forward to you know, where we go in the future. So I'm thinking it is time for the victory lap. Although oh, nobody mentioned that. I'm gonna take that off. Yeah, that's way better. So, you know, it's so funny. Sometimes I don't know what I was focusing on, but that was clearly kind of poking me in the eye the whole time. So yeah, this looks better, and I think now let's do one more sanity check here and see if there's anything else I want to clip off. Yeah, I think maybe just thin this out a bit. And yeah, now I think it's time for the victory lap. Yeah, so that's a wrap. Let's have a look at the tree here. You know, this is a great variety. If you don't have a golden leaf dwarf jade, I really recommend them. I really like it, and you know, I think we've done a lot of great pruning on this tree today. It looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get it outside. And with that, thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you all again very soon.